Imagine you are standing in the middle of a stadium. 20,000 people are screaming. You run into ball and the most important ball in your life. You take the wicket, you celebrate, but then you see the umpire. He is not looking at the batsman, he is looking at you. And he signals no ball, not because you overstepped, but because he thinks you cheated. He thinks your bowling action is illegal. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chinmoy, along with Sanlap. Welcome to Deep Point, where we go beyond the scoreboard and decode the stories that shape the game. Today, we are not just talking about cricket rules, we are talking about the single most damaging accusation in the sport that famously is called, or unfamously is called, chucking. It's not just a word, it's a word that destroys reputations, it ends careers, and right now, in the middle of a high voltage T20 World Cup, the word is back. And it is revolving around Pakistan's mystery spinner, Usman Tariq. But to understand Tariq, we have to look back at the ghost of the past. We have to look back at many different incidents that has happened. Remember the speed demons, Shoaib, Akhtar and Brett, two of the fastest humans to ever hold a cricket ball? But even they were not safe. In 1999, Shoaib was suspended. His career was almost ruined until Pakistan board chipped in and they saved him. Think about Brett. He was cleared by ICC, but the fans didn't care. During 2002 Ashes, the Bami army would scream no ball every single time he ran in. And it got so bad that then Captain Justin Langer had to step in and defend Brett. So that's the power of this accusation, because it can turn the crowd against you. And sometimes it's not just the noise, it's the end. So look at Ian Meckiff. In the 1960s, he was a rising star for Australia. But in 1963, against South Africa in a test match, he was called for throwing. He was effectively used as a scapegoat to clean up the game. He retired immediately. His career was ruined over in an afternoon. But history is strange. Sometimes it's just bizarre. Okay. Another important incident, when England legend David Gower, he jokingly or deliberately bowled a ball in a baseball style, and that was, he thought it can be a joke, but the umpire called it. He became the first England player called for throwing a cricket ball during bowling in a home test. But then came the real storms, right? Muttiah Muralitharan. This wasn't just sport. This became politics. It got so heated that the then Prime Minister of Australia, John Howard, publicly called Murali a chucker. Can you imagine that? A world leader attacking a player's technique. It forced the ICC to change the rules. They brought in science. They fixed that 15-degree limit. But even then, it did not save Saeed Ajmal of Pakistan. He was like a magician then, but he was banned right before a World Cup. He had to remodel everything. He was never the same. The same thing happened with Sunil
Narine.
Narine, and he also had to remodel his bowling action. So from then to now, 26 T20 World Cup, the things have not changed. The discussions around chucking has come back, and we are talking about an interesting cricketer, an interesting bowler, Usman Tariq. His action is a bit different. He stops, he stutters, release is slingy, but and to the traditionalist, it looks wrong. It looks ugly. But here is a $1 million question: does ugly means illegal? And because cricket history is full of things that looked wrong until they become normal. Think about reverse swing. People used to target Walker and Wasim for those reverse swinging balls, and they targeted them with accusations, but then they accepted it. Then many teams now try to hone that skill. Think about switch hit. People started calling switch hit ugly. Many bowlers are still vocal, including Ashwin, that we should not allow batters to have shots like that where they are changing their stance and they are using a different kind of shots which can totally take bowlers off guard. Think about Dusra. Okay, our great Muttiah Muralitharan came up with that skill, and then Saeed Ajmal and many others. People targeted that also. So, is Tariq cheating, or is he just evolving the game? Just like we saw in the last match when Namibia bowler tried different kinds of innovation, and it might evolve the game further, and batsmen have to now adapt to those innovations. Let's start discussing on this particular aspect of the game and think about the pressure cooker of an India versus Pakistan match. What will happen in that match? Because many discussions are happening and will be keep on happening around Usman Tariq, because he can be an impactful player in that match, and that can lead to a lot of discussions. Okay, whether, as Ashwin mentioned in his YouTube video, whether any of the Indian player will stop and say that this is not legal, or whether umpire can step in and say that this is not legal or this is not acceptable. So let's discuss on that, because we there are a lot of buzz in Twitter, a lot of YouTube videos are coming in. So let's discuss on that. Sanlap, let's start with this important aspect that has now become the main talking point of the match between India versus Pakistan. So let's start discussing on that.
Yeah, so just to add a few things to whatever you have mentioned. So the entire Dusra thing, it has been right now banned if we look at it. So look at the bowlers who used to, who were legends of Dusra bowling. Sakil Mushtaq started it, but his actions were never questioned. Harbhajan Singh's actions were also questioned. Harbhajan Singh also had to go through a few tests. If we look at, Saeed Ajmal got banned, and Saeed Ajmal, when he returned, he almost lost his core strength. Sunil Narine had to go through a lot of tests. There was another bowler in Sri Lanka, Sachitra Senanayake. His actions were also questioned, and finally his career was also over. So if you look at the subcontinental bowlers, Muralitharan, Hafiz was called out for so many times, and I think
Right.
Hafiz was banned multiple times because of his actions. So
Even our own Harbhajan Singh also.
Harbhajan Singh, I just mentioned
Hmm.
Harbhajan. So
Yeah.
Harbhajan, Hafiz, Shoaib Malik was questioned. So all the off-break bowlers has gone through this question whether they are throwing while they are bowling the variation of Dusra. So, and finally, we have seen that this entire Dusra thing, it has been banned. And so why this 15 degree rule came? Because of the fact that Muttiah Muralitharan's elbow structure is having a specific, a specific biomechanic. So his elbow is already bent. If we look at Bumrah also has that hyperextension in his elbow. If we look at
and Shoaib Akhtar
Shoaib Akhtar
used to
also
have
had the same problem. Now, when it comes to Tariq, Tariq has cleared all the ICC tests before this because of that only, because his elbow is also having that hyperextension of 15 degrees. So technically, when you just pause Tariq's action and you see that his elbow is very much bent when he is releasing the ball. So that's actually because of the fact that because of the way his elbow is structured. So he has passed the test only because of that. Now, where Tariq's problem is coming is Tariq is not having as many variations as we think. So Tariq has, if we look at his variations, mostly he has a perfect off spin. He has a proper variation of googly, and his ball drifts a little bit because of his height. The same drift we can see that it is enjoyed by another off spinner of India right now, that is Washington Sundar. He also has got that skiddiness and also a drift in his bowling. Now, why Tariq becomes a little bit difficult bowler to read because of uh, his release points are a little bit different. So he sometimes releases above his shoulder, he sometimes releases below his shoulder, not exactly below, but a little bit below than the above shoulder, the normal release point, the slingy action that we call, which Malinga had, which Pathirana has. Kedar Jadhav from India also had the same slingy action while bowling. Even the last day, Namibia's bowler Erasmus was also having that slingy action. And of course, he stops. We have to make sure. So there is a difference between a pause and a stop. Ashwin had a pause. Ashwin's pause was not, it did not ruin the concentration and focus of a batsman. The way Tariq, with the way Tariq, he just becomes a statue for at least 2 seconds. So that those 2 seconds are enough for any batsman to lose the concentration. And every time he will not, stop for 2 seconds. It might be, there will be zero point 0.5 seconds here and there, and that's the place where a batsman can be, a little bit can be deceived.
There, there is a joke on this that
Huh.
in India versus Pakistan match, there will be 25 breaks. So one innings break and then 24 breaks for Usman Tariq's 4 overs.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that then there is a difference. So when Ashwin used to bowl, so since Ashwin, you have great that you have mentioned what Ashwin has pointed out, and it's actually it's a brilliant thing that Ashwin has mentioned, because if the batsman says that I don't know when this guy is going to bowl, and since he is having such a long stop, he just if the batsman just shifts out, and the batsman just calls out, and then the umpire will actually be in a fix what to do now, because if because the batsman has all the rights to to raise this issue that I don't know when the bowler is going to bowl, because he is stopping in between. And then again, if the umpire calls out this that you cannot stop while bowling and you cannot have that much of a long stop, then it's again it's coming from Ashwin that Tariq will lose his X factor in bowling. So basically, since Tariq is not having much of variation, he's having variations in terms of pace. Some are coming slow, some are coming fast. But if last day when the match versus USA was being played, what I figured out was that his line and length were not that much of a difficult thing to tackle. It can be tackled. He can go for runs. Even his variations can also be picked. But what to do with the stop that he has? Because of that stop, a batsman becomes thoroughly confused. And if you just looking at the batsman's position and everything, then you are deciding what to bowl. I think even if this is under all the ICC rules, if ICC can make rules only based on whatever ICC can imagine. Now, ICC cannot ever imagine that a bowler will, while bowling, he will stop for 2 seconds. This was beyond ICC's imagination. Maybe because of this, ICC will now impose a rule that you cannot. There will be a proper time limit within which you will have to finish your delivery from the release point to your delivery, and if that exceeds, it will be called a no ball. Because in today's era, we have all the cameras which are capturing everything, and we see that the TV umpire and officials, they observe everything. And today, even the overstepping and everything are observed from outside, not by the umpire who is just beside the bowler. So these things can be observed right now. That what is the time that one bowler is taking from his release point to the release. So I don't know. So, but the thing is, it is very much, he's not chucking because of
Hmm.
the fact that he has his his elbow is structured in that way. But is it it's definitely ugly to see because
Hmm.
like for as you have mentioned, it's not a very conventional action, definitely unconventional. But again, a lot of people call Bumrah's action to be ugly also.
Right.
But again, it's not about the ugliness. It's about
Hmm.
whether it is being fair to the batsman or not. Because
Hmm.
batsman is bat. So for a batsman, it's a very difficult, it's a very cruel game. A bowler has
Hmm.
six balls in an over, six chances
Hmm.
he gets
Hmm.
to dismiss a batsman in an over.
Hmm.
And for a batsman, it is just a matter of a second. So there
That's
comes
a
the
that's a
crisis.
that's a very good point, I think.
Mm,
So we should not confuse between unorthodox
mm,
and cheating.
mm, mm.
And the discussion should be around fair and unfair.
Absolutely,
Whether
absolutely, absolutely.
whether the whatever the batsman or any player is doing, even in fielding, we have lot of restrictions. You can't just bluff the batter by throwing the ball or wicketkeeper. So I saw in one match, Sangakara just pretended to have the ball in his gloves, and then so all those tricks that can be either unorthodox, brilliant, innovative, or can be cheating. So there is a
Mm,
thin line
mm,
between
mm,
that, but we should know what is fair and what is unfair, and the discussion should be around that. And we are
mm,
discussing that only in
mm,
Tariq's
mm,
case
mm.
also,
Mm,
because there as we mentioned in the initial part of the video also, so there can be a time when there's a breed of bowlers who are all slingy action bowler. So
mm,
Malinga used to have slingy action. There are
mm,
many other bowlers who have slingy
mm.
action. What's the problem with Tariq is the combination of that slingy action and the fact
And the
that he's
pause.
stopping, yeah, and the pause. So that's the issue. The combination of these two is a bit deadly, a bit challenging to the batters. But I saw USA batters lining up Tariq, and if my guess is if Indian batters can adapt to that kind of an action and that kind of an approach, then they can take him on. So that's what I think. There is some change, and we should take that discussions around whether he is chucking or not, whether that action is legal or illegal or not, out of our minds. Especially, I'm talking about the players, and keep all these discussions and considerations to ICC and the bodies who are actually looking after all these issues, and they're using all the means biomechanics and the measuring tools and all the setups that they have. Uh, let's talk a bit about the impact of these discussions on the hype around this match, and the way the fans in both the countries are reacting to this. Okay, what you predict will happen on the day of the match? My prediction is nothing will happen. The match will go as it is. But if you look at the fans and audience, what kind of discussions you see will happen there, and the implications of that for the overall hype, and what will happen, and how it can either redefine the future of cricket, the uh, bowlers like Tariq and Erasmus and many others, the kind of innovation that they are bringing in. So what will happen that?
Okay, now this is entirely my opinion. So, firstly, I would just once mention Erasmus last day. So, what
Hmm.
Erasmus was doing was he was having a slingy action, but
Hmm.
his variation was in the while when he will release the ball. So there were
Hmm.
times when he was bowling very much before the crease. Even before the
Hmm.
crease starts, he was bowling some of the deliveries, and he was bringing the confusion there. If Tariq is bringing the confusion, by bowling late, Erasmus was bringing the confusion by bowling early. So
Right.
India was exposed to a different type of variation last day, and we know that they had a problem in facing Erasmus, and we can see that from Erasmus's figures, he was extremely successful. Now, going by the kind of, uh, I know as so far as Gambhir is concerned, and the team management, and also the way India's philosophy has always been. I'm not seeing what Ashwin was has suggested. I'm not seeing any batsman will be calling out the action within the game. But I can see is because of so much of discussion, I think a lot of pressure will be on Usman Tariq himself,
Mm,
because of the fact that as of now we haven't seen any Indian player calling out anything about who will be facing, who would be facing. We haven't seen anything, but all the media hype, because and this was again started by Pakistan only, because Pakistan treated Usman Tariq in such a way that they are keeping him specially for India, and that's the reason why when you store someone like that, and that's the point when the entire hype starts. And we know Indian media, and there are like
mm,
n number of analysts today who will see through so many videos. So if you look at the press conference that Ishan Kishan had last day, there
mm,
he mentioned this, that when he was asked that that there is a mystery bowler in the
mm,
arsenal of Pakistan, so there will be, how much are you prepared for that?
mm,
So Ishan Kishan replied very nonchalantly. So today we have so much of data points to gauge a bowler. So even 3 to 4 videos are enough for professionals like us to understand
mm,
what he is going to deliver. So my point is, so we will discuss this in detail when we will be discussing the India-Pakistan preview, that how well India should be prepared about the spin trap in R Premadasa. But what I can see from here is, I don't think much will happen in the match, as you said correctly, but I think there will be some steps taken by ICC in future, because there will be other teams who will be calling out this action, and who will,
mm,
once this thing becomes it becomes normalized by the bowlers, then I think there might be some regulations from ICC so far as the pause is concerned, because the way Erasmus was bowling last day, I don't think any batsman will complain on that. But the
mm,
way Tariq bowls, because that shifts the focus of the batsman entirely.
mm,
So I think there might be some point where even ICC can bring new rules to the game. Yeah.
let's then, you talked about umpires a bit and ICC a bit. Let's talk a bit about the roles that umpires have. Muralitharan was called by an umpire on the field, right?
Daryl
And
here,
today,
Daryl here.
Daryl Hare, yeah.
Mm, mm,
Today, you look at the umpires. The umpires are too scared to do that. Okay, and ICC, I think ICC also introduced a rule that these calls should be taken up by the ICC and the bodies that are assigned to do that. Has the ICC taken the power away from the on-field umpires, and umpires, or have umpires lost the nerve to call out these illegal actions? The implication of this is, just for hypothetically, and I know it's a bit far-fetched, suppose today a particular team introduce a bowler that they know that is not have legal action, but introduce that bowler in a very important match. Even if ICC have cleared that bowler, but that bowler have some different action in his or her sleeve, and use that in an important match and take 5 wickets.
mm,
So umpires can't call the bowler then and there, if because of all the historical baggages that we have due to the Muralitharan case and many other cases. So how do you see the overall arrangement and setup, and the rule ecosystem, and overall proceedings here? How that is that can affect any important match in future, because these things are in a way getting normalized. Because you look at any field, we actually include a lot of new innovative things. Some of them can be a bit unacceptable or illegal in that sense. So what do you think about that? So there can be such situations in future.
So this was also mentioned correctly by Ashwin in his podcast. So where actually the problem rises is if a bowler has different actions for different balls. So if a bowler is maintaining one specific action, so today we have cameras to capture, which I was mentioning. So today the pressure of on-field umpire to take a decision is way more lesser, because we know that the entire responsibility on the on-field umpire has been, evenly distributed to the third umpires. Previously, third umpires actually had to do no job, but today we can see that the responsibility of third umpire has, become a little bit more, because calling out the no balls, sometimes if you have seen that the run out referrals to the third umpires, it has gone lesser now, because every time the camera is capturing, and whenever, so on the field only it gets decided whether it's an out or not. So the third umpire referral for to the runouts and stumpings have also come down drastically. So what I think is today the power shifting has gone a lot to the third umpire. So if an action is a little bit weird, and if it is not normal, then I think there are cameras now to capture that, whether that extension of the arms, whether it is maintaining the 15-degree rule or not. So maybe in 1 or 2 overs, if a bowler is observed properly by the third umpire, I think it can be reported by the third umpire himself, or it can be reported to the on-field umpire within the match, and we can see some steps being taken. Now, whether a bowler will be clearing the ICC rules after that, that's not, that is not something that the umpires need to look for. So previously also this has happened, that umpire has called it out within the match when the match was happening, and then thereafter ICC took the necessary actions. The rule stays the same even today also. Now, whether the umpire will be taking that call or not, that becomes a little bit, some sort of question to think about. But again, Tariq's case is an example where not even like he was not even playing international cricket. Within domestic league crickets only, his actions were called out, and thereafter he had to go through the testings. So I think umpires now can report, but whether they will take the brave decision or not, that could be different depending on the specific umpires.
Yeah, I was also thinking about how all these things gonna impact the bowlers. So think about all the situations, everything is now stacked up against the bowlers, be it the batting friendly pitches, be it the kind of bats that batters have nowadays, shorter boundaries, and everything else, the fielding restrictions and all that. And obviously, how skilled today's batters are, the kind of power hitting training that they're taking, everything is stacked up against the bowlers. And a majority of the viewers, they want to see Ishan Kishan hit 5 sixes, or Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma hit 4 sixes, Hardik Pandya finish a match with say 3 4 sixes. In that situation, when you add these bowling action related discussions, leave aside the scientific part where you will check, for example, ICC has already cleared Usman Tariq, but now these discussions, debates, all the mild form of accusations that are coming in Usman Tariq's way, that will create a lot of issues for the bowlers in terms of their legitimacy, their mindset, the means quality of life in a sense, because day to day, on a daily basis, they might have to face these questions. They might have to always prove themselves as legitimate bowler. For example, I saw one video from Usman Tariq where he was showing his elbow and showing that how there is some issues with his elbow, and that is
He has a double elbow.
double elbow, and that's why his action is because he can't straighten his hand properly, so that is leading to such actions. So that's where I think there should be some inclusive kind of discussion around this, and the discussion should not be only around bowlers action, but also how batters are going to adapt to such bowling actions, and other techniques and innovations that the bowlers are taking.
There would be some sort of, so today the best part is we have so much of data right now. So if you just look at the only fact, because why are we discussing so much about Usman Tariq? I think the major reason is he is a little bit unknown to everyone because he has not been exposed that much by Pakistan. We only know, we have whatever we have seen from Usman Tariq. Everyone knows that he will be used against India, and he has not played very major of international cricket. I have seen him in some of the matches, but even in IL T20 also I have seen him. But the thing is, what I can figure out from this entire Tariq's episode is, I think the majority of the discussion is happening, because of the way Pakistan has used him. But as you were mentioning, that if what goes through the player's mind, because if a player is questioned every time, that whether it's a matter of self-respect, it's a matter of whether it's a clear allegation of whether you are playing honest or not. So yeah, so my point is, I think as long as, so far as Tariq is concerned, I am not having any issue with whatever he is doing. Okay, if it was Tariq, I know that I am not doing anything which is not there in the ICC rule book. I'm playing by my rules. Now the fact that in today's cricket, which is where we, especially in T20, where we see a lot of fours and sixes, I also need to bring something different into the table, where I will not, because I need to protect myself. Everyone has the right to protect themselves. So I'm not taking Tariq's side also, but again, I'm not taking their side also, who are meaninglessly, who are defaming Tariq. I'm not taking that side also. So what I can see is Tariq is staying, whatever ICC has allowed, Tariq is staying with that. Now, if ICC brings a new rule that you cannot have this, that's 2 seconds stop, because there is no rule based on any pause or stop. So if there is a rule based on that pause or stop, then Tariq will have to change his action. Now, whether even after that, whether Tariq will be the same Tariq, or he will be another story like Saeed Ajmal, or maybe Sunil
Hmm.
Narayan, or maybe Jananayaka, whether he will become another story of. But again, what happens is, if he is potent enough, he will figure out a little bit
Hmm.
new variation within his bowling without that pause, if he has that
Hmm.
that much of a
Hmm.
potential. So till now, I think till the time where he is going all by the rule books and everything. So because of which I have my serious issues with Saeed Ajmal, because Saeed Ajmal was so much dependent on that single variation of his, that
Hmm.
dusra, where
Hmm.
his elbow extension went up to 43 to 45 degrees. That was huge. So
Hmm.
ICC had no other option but to ban him, and where he had to remodify his action. But again, when he's because of that thing, if his bowling is not the same anymore, then that's a problem with Said Ajmal. Sunil Narayan, yes, his performance had a deep, the kind of danger that Sunil Narayan was before, he was not the same anymore. But again, Sunil Narine did not become irrelevant after changing his action. Sunil Narine,
he kept on evolving his action and variations and added a lot of new skill set to his repertoire.
exactly. That's why he's still so much so much respected in the league cricket today. He is one of the legends in league cricket right now. Okay. So yeah, my point is, if a bowler has that potential to evolve even after whatever the action is, even if he has to remodify, if the bowler is having enough potential, then I think a bowler doesn't need to think much about it, because these things will this because people also call out Bumrah for his actions. People have always called out, like Shoaib Akhtar and Brett Lee, legends like them. They have also been questioned. Muttiah Muralitharan, I think the kind of grilling that he went through, even after that he has come back. I think if a bowler has enough potential, then I think uh, I, so far as psychology is concerned, the bowler needs to be strong enough, and he will have to evolve. Yeah.
All right. So we will end this particular video with few questions for the viewers. So does the game need controversies like this to survive? Does the drama of suspected action actually make the World Cup more interesting to watch, or any other tournament interesting to watch? Where do we stand on this? Are we ready to distinguish between something which is unorthodox and innovative and something which is not so acceptable or not so legal? Okay, so we will keep on discussing this, and we will keep on having situations like this, and we are ready for all those discussions. With that note, let's end this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you are liking our videos, and if you want, you can share these videos with all the cricket lovers, right? If you have not subscribed our channel yet, please subscribe to our channel. We have already crossed 100 subscribers, which is something we really celebrate, and we are loving it. The kind of engagement that you are showing is really motivating us to coming up with many more videos. So thank you again, and we will see you in the next video.
Thank you.